What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Cutlass Board Games YouTube channel. I'm Keith, a game designer for a living, and one of the things that I like to do as part of my career is play a lot of other games that are popping up so I can kind of learn about the things that make them successful, that make them fun to play, and try and find out what distills that joy in me so that I can try and replicate it in my work. And recently, I realized I had stopped playing Marvel Snap. It's actually been about 3 weeks since I even opened the app. And today I found myself looking back going, well, what happened? It kind of fell off slowly. My enjoyment of it kind of died. And I kind of want to run through my history with the game and talk about everything going through it. Because I have actually made a lot of kind of deck tech, kind of commentary videos on the channel talking about Marvel Snap and the things that I enjoyed about Marvel Snap and some of the things that I think needed to change about Marvel Snap and still haven't changed. And I wanted to, take you along a journey in my memory palace about what Marvel Snap has been like for me. And I've played a lot of Marvel Snap. Here is actually a screenshot of my Steam page with 680 hours played. Now, the Steam installation for Marvel Snap was my secondary method of playing the game. I wager that I played the game on mobile probably twice as much as I did on the computer. Playing it on my PC, it was only ever like a second monitor activity. It was running like while I was watching a YouTube video or a movie or something like that. Pretty much any other time when I'm like literally not in my office, I'm playing on the phone. Like I'm in bed playing a game on the phone, doing my dailies while I have YouTube video on the TV. I watch a lot of YouTube apparently. And so it's not like I played it a little bit and then I gave up. I actually wailed really hard on Marvel Snap when the game released. I actually achieved collection complete. And if you saw in the thumbnail, I have a collection level of like 23,000. And basically I achieved collection complete, and then afterwards I no longer spent money on the game unless if it was just buying the seasonal pass. And the Surtur seasonal pass was the first one that I skipped, which was only a couple weeks ago. And so in that moment, also, I spent so much money on the game that Google Play Store has this thing where as you spend more, you achieve like a customer tier that gives you rewards and discounts. And I have a lot of points saved that I have used to make all of my Pokemon Pocket purchases basically free because I just had so much goodwill earned from spending so much money on Marvel Snap. Just to give some context here. And I basically hit collection complete and was like, well, let's stop spending money on the game. I'm just going to do the seasonal pass, and then I'll try and use the stored resources that I have and be free to play from here on out. And that's kind of what I did. With the exception of the seasonal pass, I was free to play. I've never bought anything just to buy cosmetics. I only ever spent money to attain cards in the game, because that was my whole goal. I want to be playing the game. I want to have all the cards so I can make content when new stuff comes out, if I so feel like it, and kind of going like that. And I was able to play like that for quite some time. I achieved collection complete pretty early on, and then have been for like many months now. I have been in this kind of custodian state for many months now. But this is all the cards that I'm missing, and you can kind of see most of them are pretty modern. Some of them were like intended skips because I just kind of got to the point where I was like, well, now I'm kind of picking. You can see all the completely grayed out ones from Surtur, which is this one on the top left, onwards. Because I've just not been playing. I've just not encountered it in the game at all. And then a lot of the other ones were stuff that I skipped on, or I just didn't have the currency at the time from stuff saved up to be able to buy it. And basically, the last thing that I tried to get was Wiccan. Wiccan came and passed. I'm like, this card's really cool. I want to try it out. And I had to save up currency. The triangle one. It's been so long, I'm forgetting the names of the things. So that I could unlock it, get my 6,000. and that took a long time. I had to have Wiccan pinned. It took me ages to grind because I had 0 at the time. And then I finally got Wiccan. And I hated it. It sucked. The odds of pulling it off was really shit. Even playing like Quicksilver and all that kind of stuff. Even if I went Quicksilver into Domino, I would struggle to draw a 3 unless I was playing a deck with just 3s. And I'll play Wiccan on 4. And then on turn 5, I have 7 energy, which means I'm just playing 2 3s. And then on turn 6, I'm just playing 3 3s. Might as well just play Sarah. It just wasn't fun. It didn't enable me to do fun things in the way that I expected it would. But then High Voltage came out. And High Voltage was really interesting because they're like, here's some really fast turns and you'll have a lot of energy, a lot of the time starting with 4. And I'm like, okay, well, Wiccan on turn 1. That's 7 power. And I get to play even more big things later. And so I just kind of played like a run all the big things deck. But High Voltage really highlighted to me what some of the major problems with the game is, in that 99% of the Voltage games resolved in Alioth. And I posted a tweet about this where a guy played Alioth, then Arnim Zola'd Alioth, and then Absorbing Mand, copying Arnim Zola to Arnim Zola, his Arnim Zola, which Arnim Zola'd an Alioth, and he hit all 3 of lanes with Alioth, and he has like 6 Alioth in play at this point. And I'm like, why the fuck would you just print text on the cards if everything's going to get Alioth anyway? And so every game felt like it was just resolving with Alioth or Shang-Chi. And it's like, if the game is just, did I draw Shang-Chi or did I draw Alioth? What's the game? What is there to play? And these are both cards that I have made commentary videos on before, talking about what I dislike about them. And nothing has changed. They made a minor change to Alioth, and I still think it's shit. And so it's kind of hard to really appreciate, because everything else I think in the game is done really well. Except for how they handle some counter cards. And I will get into that in a second. But this is, you can see on the screen, this is kind of where I ended. There's a few cards in here that I'm like, this would have been really cool to try out and see how it works in a deck, like Nomura, right? But when these cards were released, you would have 1 week where you see people playing this card, and that fades into irrelevancy. Like Nomura, it came out and people were like, oh cool, if I split some stuff up or I had some move things like Jeff, I can like Wong Nomura, make Jeff with a big, move him into a lane or something like that, which is kind of cool. Same with Scorn. I think Scorn has persisted a bit better because Scorn enables a discard archetype that I can't play because I don't have the enabler. Or Sasquatch, which people were playing Zoo with the Sasquatch. I just don't see Sasquatch anymore in the Zoo decks after that. Because there's just so many other things that could fit that. Like we had the Gilgamesh, we had a whole bunch of other options that seemed to work just as good. And so I was already kind of waning in how my interest was happening when some of these cards were coming out. Because you would see it and you would go, cool, this is really exciting. I can see what I can be building with this. A week passes, you never see the card played again because it's irrelevant or it's shit, or the people playing it figured out it wasn't any good. And then you go, well, the time upon which I could purchase this, because I have to save up my tokens for so long, has elapsed. There's already a new card. By the time I have my 6,000 tokens, a new card has come out. That looks kind of cool. Like right now, it's the Doom. I'm waiting for the Doom. And then the Doom boss get out, and I get to play ongoing Doom. And like that seems really interesting. But then, are they just going to print something immediately afterwards that makes this card irrelevant, makes this card really shit? And kind of around this period, they released the alliances. I'm like, cool, I really like the idea of this. I get to work with some people. We get to do some extra quests, get some extra loot. And you can literally, this is just, I just opened the alliances tab and took a screenshot. And you can see that it just shows me ones I can't join, with the exception of this one that's 4 out of 30. And scrolling for a while, it's mostly like that, right? And when the feature first launched, I was like, sick, I'm going to try and join one. And looking at it, it's like all 30s, 30s, 30s everywhere. And I'm like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to join one? Because I can't sort by full or not. And so I scrolled for ages and I finally found one, and it was 3 out of 30. That was the most amount filled that I could join in 10 minutes of scrolling. And so I joined it. It was called Professor X something. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I just want to try out the alliances feature. And I joined, and it was just 4 of us for a long time. and I played a lot that first kind of cycle. Every cycle you get like a reward dump and stuff like that. And I played a lot because I wanted to help my team and get there and get the rewards. And obviously we didn't get very close because there wasn't that many of us. It's like designed for you to have 30 people. I did okay. I was the second greatest or the first greatest point earner because I completed so many quests or whatever. And the second season started, and when I went back and checked, we actually had a bunch more people. We had like 10 or something. And then I had slipped down because I had started playing a bit less. I was like 5th or 6th or something because I was just mostly completing the quests as they came up, gave me a reason to build some decks, try some new stuff, play some move, play some discard. And then the third month had come out, and I was not playing almost at all. I was just kind of just doing my dailies and closing the app. I was like barely doing it. And then so I placed pretty lowly. And then the month after that, I came back and I started playing and looking at some stuff. I go, oh, I wonder what my alliance was. Well, I go on, open the tab, I've been kicked. So the alliance that I joined when there was no one, and pushed really, really hard to grow, and I was like hanging out in the chat and working on stuff, I got kicked from. And I was like, well, what's the point of the feature? What's the point of the feature if it's so competitive to get people in there doing stuff and working on things? It's just so difficult to get into one to start with, and then if I'm not even being appreciated for the time that I did put in while I was there and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, okay, I just don't care about this feature anymore. It's kind of been ruined for me. Unless if I literally have 30 friends, which I don't, sorry to say, that are all in like a specific private Marvel Snap alliance, then great. Otherwise, no, I don't understand. It was kind of dead for me. But I did, following on from the last thing, the last big exciting card release that I was really keen on was Arishem. I'm actually an Arishem enjoyer. Arishem came out at a time when my interest was already waning, and it came out and like, cool, this is a card that allows me to express my mastery over the game because I'm going to get a pile of random stuff, and I have to build a deck that's going to mitigate the randomness as much as possible and take as much advantage of the extra energy that you're going to get, and then try and just get as much power in there without specifically being able to combo anything. I, using my game skill, have to look for the different synergies to build out a board state that's going to win me the game. And I had a lot of fun playing Arishem. And then similarly to the argument that I was saying before, basically, they would print something, and they go, this is cool, and then they would make something that makes it deeply unfun and just kind of useless and shit. And for Arishem got exactly 1 week, and then a free card in Deadpool's Diner, Cass, was released and made Arishem unplayable. Basically, it was a card that if you played it, it auto won the game if you're playing against Arishem. And that's kind of shithouse. 1 week, you get 1 week uncontested, unnerfed, and everyone was like, oh my god, this card's too powerful or whatever. But it was fun, right? The fun factor was there. But everyone that didn't have Arishem was not having fun. And the same thing with the card acquisition is it creates two piles of people. The whales that keep up with all the cards and get to play the new, cool, powerful thing and get to have fun and are on equal footing with all of the other whales because they all have access to all of the cards. And without getting into the price specifics right now, that's really fucking hard to do. Each card individually is like $70 or something, more if it's in AUD and not USD. And you're like, do I really want to buy a card that's possibly shit in a week if I'm just trying to keep up with all the whales, right? And then the second category of people is people that aren't whales and get to see all the whales play all the fun cards and then get dumpstered by them constantly and have a shit time. And there's just no way to reconcile these two groups unless if all the cards are a bit more available. Or there's like trading between people and stuff like that, which is how like a regular TCG kind of mitigates things. Or like if you go to a locals, a lot of times they'll let you have like proxies where you just like fucking print out whatever you want to play, and then the limit is you as a pilot, not you as a person with infinite money trying to accumulate a thing, which is kind of a problem that Marvel Snap does have. But Arishem came out, and Arishem was fun, and I enjoyed playing it. And then they, ran it into the ground immediately with Cass. And since then, people are like, what about all these other problems? What about all these other things? We need to print more nerfs for Arishem. We need to, print more horrible things. They released a location, which was like, any card generated by Arishem costs 1 extra. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Because in my opinion, Arishem is good if you're lucky and just okay most of the time. A high synergy deck is going to be more consistent and better than Arishem every time. The difference is Loki. If the Arishem player draws Loki, they have a much better time against a high synergy deck, but they have to account for being down cards in hand. You have like a -3 cards drawn into accomplishing the synergy. So I don't think Arishem is broken. I think Arishem is a luck card, right? If you get lucky, you'll have good games and you might stomp your opponent. But a lot of the time, you're going to have just junk, just nothing, and it might not come together. Or you even do play Loki and you still can't get enough power on the field to win because your opponent's synergy is always going to be more consistent than yours. And I think that's fine. But a lot of the community obviously hated this and I had a lot of struggles and stuff with it. And it was kind of difficult to keep up with that. But Arishem also gave me access to play cards I didn't have, which meant that I could kind of feel like I was keeping up with the new stuff sometimes because it might show up and I might get to play it and I get to, test it out and see if it's worth spending the dosh on. But that also kind of killed my interest in grinding and trying out the new thing and playing the new thing. And the problem is they go, here's this really cool new card, and I go, I just can't have it. The thing that's fun about games like this for me is deck building and being able to try and play the deck, and just not having access to the cards for 6 weeks or more makes it unplayable. How do I? The one thing that was enjoyable about the game to me has been removed because I stopped spending money, and to me, unfortunately, that makes it a very bad game. I play the Pokemon TCG, right? Every week at locals, I come with a new 60. I've played many different deck lists over the year and a half I've been playing. I've never spent more than $100 a month on the game. That's including event entry and stuff, right? Which is doing like locals once a week, which is about $60 of that, right? And then like having a collection of staples and like opening some good stuff and then just like maybe buying the the other little bits and pieces that I've needed, or a big release comes out and I go, look, these are the singles that I want. It's not hard to keep up with it like that compared to Marvel Snap, where they're like, well, here's a season pass which is $15. I'm like, that's not so bad. Cool, I get one of the 4 cards that come out this month. And they go, yes, but if you want the other 3 cards, that will be $240. And you're like, huh? How does that work? That's Baldur's Gate 3 like 4 times. And so it's been just insanely hard to justify the experience, and just not being able to keep up at all with anything kind of sucked. And it took all the fun away from it because it meant that I wasn't able to do the things that the game did interestingly and was fun because it was gated to me. It was just no longer accessible anymore. And that's, I don't know, is that like just the mobile formula now? I'm literally playing a gacha game. I'm playing Zenless Zone Zero. I've not spent any money. I'm literally a free-to-play player. And every character that's come up on a banner that I've cared about, I've had enough currency saved up to be able to get enough pulls to get the character. And this is the thing, like if you imagine the price equity between a gacha game and thing was literally like, here, you can purchase the card. It costs this much. In a gacha game, you can just miss. You can just be like, oh, well, I didn't fucking get it. That sucks for me, I guess. But obviously, Snap doesn't have that. It doesn't have booster mechanics. So you go, well, okay, here's my guaranteed hit. I get this thing that I want, and I get to play it. Oh, it sucks. Well, that's unfortunate. All right? But then playing a gacha game, I've played Zenless Zone Zero literally since release, and then I've not missed any character that I've wanted. I have all of them. I got Jane, I got Zhuyuan, I got Yanagi, I got Bernice. All right? I haven't spent any money. Compared to Marvel Snap, where Wicked came out, and I was like, oh, I gotta wait 5 weeks to get this bastard. And then it sucked. It's just such a shit experience. It's just been monetized in such a way that just precludes me from playing the game. And so, that's it. I only logged in today just so I could take some screenshots for this video, and that's it. I'm just not gonna be playing Marvel Snap anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you are feeling the same way. A lot of the posts and stuff that I see on Twitter are people that are like, Pokemon Pocket killed Marvel Snap. I'm like, well, no, Marvel Snap killed Marvel Snap. Pokemon Pocket just happens to be good right now. Plenty of other games come out that are going to take your time away and your attention away from other games. And if something is demanding so much attention and so much money from you, and it's going to be much easier to pick something else that is free and less horrible. Shit, even League of Legends is a better experience than Marvel Snap right now, and that gives you a pretty good indication of how horrible things are. So look, that's unfortunately where I'm at. I've given up on the game. If you're feeling the same, definitely let me know. I would like to know that I am not a man on an island. And what was the thing that did it for you? Was the release of Arishem the thing that killed it for you? Because I see a lot of people posting on Twitter like that's the case. And look, I get it. Arishem can be really annoying to play against. It just so happened to be that I had fun playing Arishem. But it was potentially the herald of the end. It was the last thing. And everything else after that just felt like I was hoping. I was waiting for things to get better, and it didn't happen. And so now I'm finally done. And that means that on the channel, I'm just going to be doing other cool new things. Other games have come out. I've been playing them. I've been playing Path of Exile 2. I've been really enjoying it. I've been playing Marvel Rivals. It's been pretty fun kicking off. I still play by my clock tower like 1,000 days a week. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, definitely check that out. I'm also playing Pokemon TCG a lot and do have a lot of Pokemon TCG and Pocket, all that kind of stuff, still on the channel. And I will be always talking about games and things in the future. I just probably don't care about Marvel Snap anymore. So sorry to say, I guess. But look, if you agree, hit the like button so that I know there's other people out there like me.